Knowing your worth is not just a motivational quote you put on your wallpaper. It's a mindset, a way of life, and more importantly, a form of self-respect. It's the foundation of every boundary you set, every decision you make, and every relationship you choose to nurture or walk away from. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's about waking up every single day, looking at the mirror and saying to yourself, I matter, my time matters, my energy matters. But here's the part most people forget. You don't stop at knowing your worth. You add tax, that's the confidence you wear. That's the unapologetic way you demand your seat at the table. That's what you charge for every ounce of peace you sacrifice, every hour of sleep you give up chasing your goals, and every single time you've had to prove yourself when you shouldn't have had to. Let me tell you something, the world doesn't reward modesty. It rewards clarity. The people who get ahead are not always the most talented or the most intelligent, but the ones who know their worth and aren't afraid to state it. I've been in rooms where I was underestimated because I was the only woman, or the only person of color, or the youngest voice in the room, and guess what? I never shrank myself. I never tried to blend in. I showed up knowing exactly what I brought to the table, and I didn't ask for permission to speak. I spoke, and made them listen. When you know your worth, you stop chasing validation. You don't wait for someone to tell you you're good enough. You know you are. You don't let your value be determined by people who don't even know how to value themselves. You stop giving discounts, emotionally, mentally, professionally. You don't settle for half, loves, underpaid jobs, or one-sided friendships. Let's get real. People will treat you based on how you treat yourself. If you're always the one giving more than you get, always available, always saying yes just to be liked, you become cheap real estate. Easy to access, easy to use, easy to ignore, but when you operate from a place of self-worth, you start attracting a different kind of energy. You start commanding respect, not begging for attention. And don't confuse self-worth with ego. Ego is fragile, it breaks when someone criticizes you. Self-worth is solid, it stays rooted even when the world doubts you, it's quiet, it doesn't need to shout or prove itself. It's the calm knowing that you don't have to compete with anyone because you are in a league of your own. You are your only competition. Knowing your worth also means being okay with walking away. It means turning down opportunities that don't serve you, even if they look glamorous on the outside. It means understanding that no is a complete sentence, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. You stop wasting time convincing people of your value. The ones who get it, get it. The ones who don't, let them go, and yes, there will be moments of doubt, moments when imposter syndrome creeps in and you wonder, am I really good enough? Trust me, I've had those moments, even now. But the difference is, I don't live there. I remind myself of everything I've earned, every battle I've fought to be here, every late night, every tear, every sacrifice. I remind myself that my journey has value, even when the world doesn't see it yet. This mindset has shaped my entire career. From Bollywood to Hollywood, from Miss World to a global platform. I didn't wait for someone to hand me success. I claimed it. I made myself impossible to ignore. And I did it by first recognizing my worth and then adding tax every time someone tried to change me. So if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. You are not just your skills or your looks or your job title. You are the result of every storm you've survived, every limitation you've shattered, and every dream you refuse to give up on. That's your worth. And when you walk into a room with that kind of energy, when you demand what you deserve not with entitlement but with grace, the universe has no choice but to respond. So know your worth, and then add tax, interest, and a service fee. Because, darling, you are the prize, act like it. Being nice is one of those qualities that we're all encouraged to embrace from a very young age. Be polite, smile more, don't raise your voice, don't offend anyone. Say yes, even when you want to say no. And especially for women, niceness is often treated like a virtue that defines our worth. But here's what no one tells you while they're handing you that be nice script. Asterisk, niceness without boundaries is a trap, asterisk. It's a trap that leads you to being walked over, overlooked, and underappreciated. Because while being nice is good, being respected is better. Niceness without self-respect becomes people-pleasing. It becomes a habit of shrinking yourself just to make others comfortable, and here's the thing, people can sense it. They can sense when you're being nice out of fear rather than strength. They can tell when you're agreeing just to avoid conflict, when you're smiling just to be liked, and when you're quiet just so you don't ruffle any feathers. And unfortunately, instead of admiring you for being agreeable, they often end up taking you for granted. I've been there. Early in my career, I tried to be the nice girl. Always on time, always polite, never asking for too much, never challenging decisions I didn't agree with. And you know what happened? I got overlooked, not because I wasn't capable, but because I didn't command space. I was present, but I wasn't heard. And the moment I decided that I'd rather be respected than liked, everything changed. Respect isn't about being loud or aggressive. It's about being firm. It's about knowing your boundaries and protecting them without guilt. It's about being kind but not a pushover. It's about having the courage to say no without explaining yourself. It's about speaking your truth even if your voice shakes. And once you do that, something powerful happens. People start to treat you differently. They start to listen because respect demands attention, while niceness quietly fades into the background. We live in a world that constantly tells us to fit in, to not make waves, to be likable. But here's what I've learned. Likability is a cage. If you live for approval, you'll die from rejection. You'll exhaust yourself trying to be everything for everyone, and in the process, you'll lose yourself. But when you choose respect over likability, you begin to reclaim your voice. You stop seeking validation and start standing in your own power. Respect means showing up with integrity. It means being honest even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means standing your ground when others want to shake it. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean being rude, cold, or arrogant. You can be respectful and still have empathy. You can be assertive and still be compassionate. The difference is you're not allowing kindness to be mistaken for weakness. There's a quote I live by: don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. That's what chronic niceness does. It burns you out. You keep giving and giving, your time, your energy, your peace, until there's nothing left for you. And the worst part, most people won't even notice. Because when you're always available, always agreeable, and always accommodating, it becomes expected. And expectations, when unspoken, are rarely appreciated. Respect, on the other hand, creates healthy boundaries. It teaches people how to treat you. It tells them that while you are kind, you are not to be taken lightly. That while you are open, you are not wide open for exploitation. And that while you care, you also care deeply for yourself. Choosing respect over niceness also means you will disappoint some people, and that's okay. The people who only liked you when you were convenient for them were never really in your corner to begin with. The right people, the ones who see your value, who want you to grow, who aren't intimidated by your strength, they will stay. And they won't need you to dim your light or dilute your voice to make them feel secure. I've had people call me too much, too opinionated, too ambitious, too confident, and to them I say, yes, I am. I am too much for the small boxes you want to put me in. I'm too much for a world that wants women to be quiet and grateful for whatever we get. I'm not here to be digestible. I'm here to be undeniable. So if you're stuck in the loop of being nice all the time, at the cost of your own voice, let me tell you this, it's time to evolve. Be kind, yes, be compassionate always, but don't be so nice that you forget to honor your own value. Don't be so focused on being liked that you lose the chance to be respected. Because when the applause fades and the compliments stop, all you're left with is your own self-worth. Make sure it's rooted in something stronger than just being nice. Make sure it's grounded in who you are, what you stand for, and how boldly you're willing to show up for yourself. Respect lasts longer than approval. It's not always easy, and it's not always comfortable, but it's always worth it. Not everyone deserves access to you. That's not arrogance. It's truth. It's a truth rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and self-preservation. Your time, your energy, your attention, your presence. These are not infinite resources. You don't owe them to every person who smiles at you, texts you, compliments you, or simply wants to be part of your life. Being available to everyone all the time is not a virtue. It's a vulnerability, and if you're not careful, it will drain you to the point where there's nothing left to give yourself. We've been conditioned to believe that saying yes is kind, that being accessible is generous, and that being needed is the same as being valued. But here's the raw truth. *** being needed doesn't always mean being respected. *** sometimes it just means you're convenient, and when you're convenient, you're used. When you're always accessible, you're taken for granted. People start to assume you'll always be there, that your attention is a given, that your emotional support is on demand, and in the process your worth starts to diminish, not because you are less, but because you've allowed too many people to hold pieces of you without deserving them. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others. They're about saying yes to yourself. They're about recognizing that your space, your peace, your mental clarity, and your emotional well-being are sacred. And not everyone has earned the right to enter that space. You can love people from a distance. You can support people without sacrificing your own stability. You can care deeply and still protect your energy. In fact, the most powerful kind of love is the kind that's given freely, not extracted through guilt, obligation, or pressure. There's a big difference between being open and being unguarded. Being open means you welcome the right people in. Being unguarded means anyone can walk in and take what they want. You are not a public park. You are not a 24/7 convenience store. You are a whole human being with layers, depth, dreams, fears, and fire. You are not here to be consumed. You're here to be respected, cherished, and *earned*. Letting everyone have access to you dilutes your presence. It wears down your essence. The more you stretch yourself thin, the more invisible you become. Think about it. The most valuable things in life aren't freely available to everyone. Diamonds are hard to find, gold is mined, exclusive events have guest lists. The same logic applies to you. Your inner circle should be earned, not handed out like party favors. Just because someone shows interest doesn't mean they have good intentions. Just because they've known you for years doesn't mean they deserve the most intimate parts of your life. Longevity doesn't equal loyalty. Familiarity doesn't equal entitlement. It's okay to be selective. It's okay to protect your peace. You are not rude for choosing silence over forced conversations. You're not cold for stepping back from one-sided relationships. You're not selfish for prioritizing your growth over someone else's comfort. That's not being mean, that's being intentional, and intentional people live better lives. Not because they have fewer challenges, but because they don't invite chaos in under the disguise of connection. There are people out there who only reach for you when they need something. They only remember you when they're lonely, only text you when they're bored, only check in when their world is falling apart. But where are they when you need a shoulder? Where are they when you want to be heard without judgment? If you keep giving to people who only take, eventually you will run empty, and an empty version of you serves no one, not even yourself. Protecting your energy is an act of love. It's not about building walls. It's about building gates with locks and giving keys only to those who truly honor the privilege of access. Not everyone is meant to be in your inner world. Some people are seasonal, some are situational, and some are simply lessons. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to explain your distance. You just have to recognize that not everyone deserves the version of you that you fought to build. Let's be honest, there's power in your presence. You inspire, you uplift, you help, you give, but the real flex, knowing when to pull back, knowing when to stop giving your all to people who don't give even half in return. knowing that your power lies not just in how much you offer, but in how fiercely you protect what you've cultivated. So take a moment to audit your circle: who drains you, who nourishes you, who claps when you win. Who disappears when you fall? The answers are there. You don't need to chase people to prove you're worthy. You don't need to overextend yourself to be loved. You don't need to give more access to people who haven't even earned your time. You are not for everyone. You never were, and that's your strength, not your weakness. Value your space, guard your peace, and most importantly, remember this. Asterisk asterisk, not everyone deserves access to you asterisk asterisk. Because you, my friend, are not ordinary. You're exclusive. Start acting like it. Mystery is power. In a world that constantly demands we be visible, loud, and overexposed, there's something deeply magnetic about someone who holds something back. We live in a culture that equates openness with honesty, constant sharing with confidence, and visibility with success. But the truth is, not everything needs to be seen to be real, and not everything needs to be said to be powerful. There is an undeniable strength in silence, in restraint, in privacy. There is power in mystery, because mystery makes people wonder, and wonder keeps them interested. You don't need to broadcast every move, every plan, every heartbreak, and every joy to validate that it's happening. Let them guess. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them try to figure you out. That's not manipulation. That's protection. That's self-control. That's choosing to live life on your own terms instead of offering your world on a platter for people to dissect and judge. The less people know about you, the less they can use against you. The more you reveal, the more they assume they understand you, and the more power they feel entitled to have. Mystery isn't about being fake or hiding who you are. It's about preserving what's sacred. It's about creating space between you and the world so that you can grow, evolve, and process without pressure. When you're too available, too transparent, too easily read, you lose a certain edge. You become predictable, familiar, and while familiarity may feel comforting at first, it often breeds indifference. What people can't fully grasp, they tend to respect more. That's just how human psychology works. We chase what intrigues us. We hold on to what we can't fully define. When you keep some parts of yourself reserved, your dreams, your strategies, your struggles, you protect your peace, you give yourself the room to be without performing. And in that space, you build quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need applause, the kind that doesn't need constant reassurance. You stop living for reactions and start living from a place of inner truth. You become intentional with your presence, your words, your moves. Look at the people who truly command attention. They're not the ones oversharing every detail of their lives online. They're the ones who move in silence, let their work speak, and only reveal what they choose to reveal, never what they are pressured to reveal. They don't need to explain themselves because they let results do the talking. They are secure in their power, and part of that power comes from not giving everyone access to their inner workings. Mystery gives you the ability to control your narrative. When you reveal less, people fill in the blanks with curiosity. They start to pay closer attention. They start to wonder, what is she thinking? What's she planning? What's going on behind that calm expression? And that curiosity creates space for respect. It sets you apart from the noise. In a world full of oversharing, restraint becomes rare, and rare is valuable. We often feel the pressure to overshare because we fear being misunderstood. But here's the thing, even if you tell people everything, they'll still misunderstand you. They'll twist your words, question your motives, minimize your experience. So why hand them the script? Let them stay curious, let them talk. Your truth doesn't need their understanding to be real. There is also power in unpredictable action. When you don't announce every step before you take it, people can't interfere. They can't discourage you, distract you, or derail you. When your moves are quiet, your success gets louder. When you stop explaining and start doing, the results are undeniable. And those results, they make more impact than any speech ever could. Mystery also protects your relationships. Not everyone needs to know who you're dating, what you're going through, or where your heart is at every moment. Keep some parts of your life private, not because you're hiding, but because some things are asterisk just for you asterisk. Intimacy isn't defined by visibility. Real connection happens in the quiet moments, in the spaces that are free from public commentary. You don't need to disappear to be mysterious. You don't need to isolate yourself. Just become more selective with your presence. Speak with intention. Move with purpose. Share with people who have earned your trust, not with those who are simply curious or nosy. Be seen when you want to be seen, and when you choose silence, let it be because you're creating, not retreating. In the end, power doesn't come from being loud, it comes from being solid, and solid people don't need to prove themselves to everyone. They don't need to be understood by the masses. They're grounded in who they are, and they understand the value of keeping some parts of themselves unknown. Mystery keeps your energy intact. It keeps your journey sacred. It creates space for wonder, and wonder is the beginning of respect. So don't be afraid to pull back. Don't be afraid to leave some things unsaid. There's more strength in being underestimated and then surprising the world than in being constantly watched and prematurely judged. Let the world talk. Let them guess. Let them wonder where you went and what you're up to. You're building, you're growing, you're becoming, and not everyone gets a front row seat to that transformation. That's not secrecy, it's strategy. That's not fear, it's power, and that power is yours to protect. We hear quality over quantity all the time when it comes to possessions, work, or even social media followers, but rarely do we apply it where it matters most, in our relationships. The people you surround yourself with shape your mindset, influence your energy, and affect your growth. Yet so often we measure our worth by how many people we know, how many friends we have, or how many names fill our contact list. But numbers can be deceiving. What's the point of having hundreds of connections if none of them run deep? What's the point of being surrounded by people if you still feel alone in a crowded room? There is something profoundly valuable about genuine relationships, those few rare connections that offer real support, honesty, and depth. Relationships where you don't have to perform, pretend, or walk on eggshells. Relationships where silence isn't awkward, it's comfortable, where your presence is appreciated, not expected, where your vulnerability isn't exploited, it's protected. These relationships are not built overnight. They are cultivated slowly, with trust, with intention, with consistency, and they are worth more than 10 surface-level connections that drain you or demand a version of you that isn't real. In the age of constant connection, the illusion of closeness is everywhere. We follow each other's lives online, we like each other's photos, we drop occasional "I miss you" messages. But how many of those people truly know your heart? How many would be there at 2 a.m. when things fall apart? How many celebrate your wins with genuine happiness, not hidden jealousy? When you begin to value quality over quantity, you stop entertaining relationships that feel shallow, performative, or transactional. You stop keeping people in your life out of guilt, habit, or fear of being alone. And yes, choosing quality means your circle will shrink. That's okay. In fact, that's necessary. Growth requires subtraction. Not everyone who started with you is meant to stay with you. Some people are chapters, not the whole story, and some were only meant to teach you what not to accept in relationships. When you cling to people out of history instead of alignment, you block the space where something better could enter. You compromise your peace to maintain a connection that no longer serves you. The people you keep closest to you should elevate you, not just agree with you, but challenge you. Not just support you, but inspire you. They should bring clarity, not confusion, peace, not pressure. You should feel safe enough to be your full self, your strong self, your messy self, your healing self. That kind of relationship is rare, which is exactly why it's valuable. Protect it, nurture it, and don't waste your energy trying to maintain 50 friendships when you could pour into 5 that truly matter. There is a certain peace that comes when you stop trying to impress or accommodate everyone. You start showing up more authentically. You speak more honestly. You attract people who connect with your real energy, not the polished version you think they want. And those are the people who stay, because quality relationships aren't based on what you can offer, what you look like, or how useful you are. They're based on shared values, mutual respect, and deep understanding. Being selective with who you allow close to you isn't being mean, it's being intentional. Your time is limited, your energy is sacred, and not everyone deserves access to both. Learn to recognize the difference between those who clap because they love you and those who clap because they don't want you to notice their silence. Pay attention to how people show up when you're not at your best. That's when real character reveals itself. That's when you see who's truly there for you and who's there for what they can get from you. You don't need 1,000 friends. You need a few real ones . People who don't just listen to you but hear you, who don't just check in when they need something but are present when you do. People who remember your triggers, honor your boundaries, and show up without being asked. These people don't always come with loud declarations or grand gestures. Sometimes they just sit beside you in silence. Sometimes they send a text that says, "I'm proud of you," when no one else notices your effort. Sometimes they're the ones reminding you of your worth when you've forgotten it yourself. Quality relationships require effort, but they also give it back. They don't feel like work all the time. They feel like rest, like home, like clarity. And when you experience that kind of connection, you realize how much time you wasted trying to force bonds that weren't mutual, chasing attention that wasn't sincere, or investing in people who never showed up when it mattered. So stop counting the people in your life. Start weighing them. Who adds to your peace, who drains your spirit, who makes you feel safe, seen, and supported, who matches your energy without being asked. Choose people who bring you forward, not those who hold you back with drama, competition, or inconsistency. Love deeply, but love wisely, because your energy is too valuable to be spent on people who don't recognize its worth. In the end, your circle might get smaller, but your life will get fuller. Because when you prioritize quality over quantity in relationships, what you gain is far greater than what you lose. You gain peace. You gain clarity, you gain love, the kind that lasts. Confidence is quiet, boundaries are loud. You don't need to raise your voice to prove your worth. You don't need to announce your plans or defend your decisions to feel powerful. Real confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about knowing who you are when no one is watching. It's about walking into a space and not needing validation to know you belong. But while confidence speaks in calm certainty, boundaries shout in bold action. Boundaries say, "I respect myself enough to protect my time, my energy, and my peace." And that declaration is loud, whether or not you say a word, in a world that constantly demands more of you, more time, more attention, more openness. Confidence gives you the strength to say less. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain why you've changed, why you've grown, why you've let certain people go. That's the beauty of real confidence. It doesn't seek permission. It simply is . But don't mistake that quiet confidence for weakness. Behind it are clear, strong boundaries, lines that don't bend just to keep others comfortable, lines that define what you will and will not tolerate. You see, people often confuse kindness with availability. They assume that if you're soft-spoken, you're weak, if you're calm, you're passive, if you're generous, you're naive. But here's what they don't see. It takes immense strength to be kind in a cruel world. It takes control to remain silent when you could retaliate, and it takes self-respect to enforce boundaries that may disappoint others but protect your soul. So while your confidence may be calm and composed, your boundaries are bold and unapologetic. Boundaries are not barriers. They are not walls that shut people out. They are doors with locks, and you get to decide who gets the key. Not everyone deserves full access to you. Not everyone is entitled to your time, your vulnerability, your emotional labor. When you set a boundary, you're not pushing people away. You're choosing yourself. You're saying, I love me enough to not overextend for people who won't meet me halfway. That's not selfish, that's self-aware. The loudest boundary is no, a simple word but so powerful. No to overcommitting, no to fake friendships, no to people who only show up when it's convenient for them, no to environments that drain you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. You don't need to soften your no with guilt or apology. A boundary is not up for debate. It's a declaration, and when you begin to live this way, rooted in quiet confidence and backed by strong boundaries, your life begins to change. You attract better people, you waste less time, you sleep better at night, you move through the world lighter because you're not carrying the weight of other people's expectations. You're not constantly trying to prove your worth. You know your worth, and that knowing is everything. There will be people who don't like your boundaries. They benefited from your lack of them. They liked it when you said yes to everything, when you never pushed back, when you were constantly available, but people's discomfort with your growth is not your responsibility. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to be whole, to be free, to be at peace with yourself. And peace often comes at the cost of people pleasing. Confidence isn't just about how you carry yourself, it's how you choose yourself. It's how you no longer seek approval. It's how you walk away from situations that don't align with your values. It's how you hold space for yourself when no one else does, and boundaries are the tools that keep that confidence intact. They are the armor that protects your growth. A person who is truly confident doesn't fear being misunderstood. They don't chase closure. They don't explain themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. They simply move quietly, powerfully, with intention, and the boundaries they set speak louder than any argument ever could. You know who you are, you know what you deserve, you know what you will no longer accept, and that knowing allows you to move through the world with an elegance that's impossible to fake. So the next time you feel pressured to prove something, pause. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to beg to be valued. You don't need to over-explain your decisions. Let your presence speak. Let your peace speak. Let your boundaries speak. Because true power doesn't need to shout. It's quiet in its confidence and loud in its refusal to be mistreated. It's graceful yet firm, soft yet unshakable. That's the kind of power that lasts. That's the kind of confidence that doesn't fade when the spotlight is gone. And that's the kind of life you deserve, one where your silence commands respect, and your boundaries echo louder than any words ever could.